And welcome to the show, everybody. It is the 6th of January, 2022. I'm Mary Grace, and we are live with Real Talk with Mary Grace. Come on in, everybody. Welcome to the show. Glad you're here. I'm going to wait just a few minutes to see where everybody is. It looks like there's a delay in getting out the notifications. Is that a surprise to anybody? Shouldn't be. So let's get going here, and hopefully everybody is ready to rumble. Okay, I see some people coming in. So we're live today on Facebook, YouTube, Clout Hub, channel 111, and on Twitter. So come on in and join us. Glad to see everybody. Hello, everybody. Hello on YouTube. Hello on Facebook. Hello on Clout Hub. Hello on Twitter. Hello there. Oh, and by the way, I just posted another short on YouTube of Barley George. People were asking for that. So go over to YouTube on my channel, Mary Grace Media, and take a look. You have to be looking for the shorts. So if you scroll down your timeline, they usually show up across the timeline. All right. If you just look at the top of YouTube, you won't see the shorts. You have to scroll down. And so go check that out. It's under Mary Grace Media. Barley has been very active today. Very active. I think he's happy that the sun is out. It's getting warmer, and that the snow is melting. Excuse me. Whew. Don't know why I was sneezing. Okay. Sorry about that. If it was in anybody's ear. Okay. So here we go. Good to see you guys. Good to see everybody. Yeah, so go check out Barley George. He was here just a few minutes ago, but I think he's upstairs because it's lunchtime up there. And you know what that means. Time to eat. Okay, so here we go. Go ahead and invite people, get your friends here, share the link, and tag people. Say hello as you're coming in. I don't want anybody to miss this show. We do get censored quite a bit on these socialist media platforms. So anything you can do to share it is very much appreciated, because I have people tell me all the time, "Oh, I never saw your show." And so if you're a regular, go ahead and just go look for it. Look in your timeline and search me by name, Mary Grace Media, so that you don't miss a show. I do get a lot of replays, but probably not as many as we should because of the censorship. Okay, I can't wait for Trump social media to come for Truth Social. I'm very excited about that. Now, speaking of Trump, I wanted to just jump right in and talk to you about him. I wanted to talk about the situation I mentioned the other day when I was doing my show. The news broke that President Trump had canceled his January 6th speech. And I wasn't really going to weigh in on why he did that. And now I think I understand more. So I wanted to talk to you about that. There's two possibilities that don't have to be mutually exclusive. One is that that there was a credible threat. And the funny thing about this is that people are saying online that Lindsey Graham told him to cancel, which I think is hilarious. Like, you would listen to Lindsey Graham. Yeah, that didn't happen. But I was listening to Elijah streams from Monday from Robin Bullock's intelligence briefing, and he actually had a word about a threat to the president. And he told everybody to pray over that, to pray about it. And I encourage you that if you go and listen to that, I would definitely encourage you to do that and follow along with the prayer that Robin Bullock leads people in. I think it's really important that people are aware of that. It's not a fear thing. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. Be prepared. That's what we're looking at here. And I think everything is going to be okay. But, there is a possibility that there was a threat. Now, the other possibility is that President Trump was just messing with the media and the leftists. That's a highly likely possibility. So here's something to think about. President Trump's pretty smart. He knows that the minute he announces something like that, it's going to get the wheels turning in in the in the camp of his enemies. So let's think about this. If you want to flush out your enemies even further than you've already done, what better way than to announce that you're going to do a press conference at your club at Mar-a-Lago? Now, let's think about this because, you know, security, the openness of the place, right? I mean, it's probably not. I don't know how secure it is. I don't know if that's a good place for him to do a press conference or what. But anyway, the point is, if you wanted to flush out your enemies, what would be a better way to do that than to announce that you're going to be in that place and that you want all the media to come? Think about it, that it's just a press conference. It's not a rally. You know, he wouldn't be surrounded by thousands of his supporters. He would be basically a sitting duck. Think about that. And so that's one thing. And if there was a credible threat, is it possible that he now has identified even more enemies, maybe people that he suspected, but he wanted to give them an opportunity to hatch a plan that would make it more obvious what they were doing, right? So he would want them to walk right into his trap. Make sense? So that's one scenario. I said two scenarios. There actually could be more. So that's one. Now the other one is, you know, he's a master at media, and they seem to forget that. And, you know, he has a rally planned for January 15th. And you know that the media won't ever talk about that. They won't tell people that's going to happen. But the media was all abuzz about his January 6th press conference. So what better way to get publicity for the January 15th rally, which he was always planning to do? Let's just say that he never actually planned a press conference, but the media is all abuzz over it. And then he cancels it the day before or 2 days before. And so now, and then he says, I will be making these announcements on January 15th. So think about that. So now, not only are their plans to do harm thwarted, because I don't think they would try anything in a big rally surrounded by all of his supporters. I just don't think they would. But not only are their plans thwarted, but now they're forced to report on the rally that he's going to have on January 15th in Arizona. It's just a thought, you know? And the other thing is, you know, it gives him an opportunity. It gives him an opportunity just to shine another spotlight on just the corrupt, lying media. And that's always a good thing. Okay. So clipping forward to, clipping ahead to today. Today is the anniversary of January 6th. And that is a day that, according to the Democrats, is like a day that will live on in infamy. They're trying to compare it to the bombing of Pearl Harbor and to 9/11, which is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of. And in fact, here's how ridiculous it is. Hold on a second. Hold on. This is how ridiculous it is. Take a look. Take a screenshot. On the left is an image of an actual person walking through the Capitol gallery on that day a year ago. Total insurrectionist right there, terrorist in the flesh. Yeah, okay. So that's what we're dealing with. They're just liars. They're liars, 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 and they're just pushing propaganda nonstop, right? So that's what we're dealing with. And so, you know, President Trump knows that. And Biden was on TV this morning putting out a statement, which is just complete and total BS. I can't even watch him, but you know the story. These are all terrorists. It was an insurrection. Our nation will never be the same. We'll never recover. Blah 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 blah. All the pearl clutching that you could imagine, right? And so President Trump put out a statement to refute this. I'm going to read it to you. He says Biden, who is destroying our nation with insane policies of open borders, corrupt elections, disastrous energy policies, unconstitutional mandates, and devastating school closures, used my name today to try to further divide America. This political theater is all just a distraction for the fact that Biden has completely and totally failed. Our country no longer has borders, has totally and completely lost control of COVID, record numbers, and is no longer energy independent. Inflation is rampant, our military is in chaos, and our exit or surrender from Afghanistan was perhaps the most embarrassing day in the long and distinguished history of the United States, and so much more. And then he goes on. Why is it that the unselect committee of totally partisan political hacks, whose judgment has long ago been made, not discussing the rigged presidential election of 2020? It's because they don't have the answers or justifications for what happened. They got away with something, and it is leading our country's destruction. They want all conversation concerning the election canceled. Just look at the numbers. They speak for themselves. They are not justifiable, so the complicit media just calls it the big lie. And when in actuality, the big lie was the election itself. The Democrats want to own this day of January 6th so they can stoke fears and divide America. I say let them have it because Americans see through their lies and polarizations. That's his statement on that. Now, let me check your comments here. And so what he's saying basically is, he's very aware of what's going on here. He's very aware of the propaganda and the way that the media just stokes division and fear. And one of the questions that I want to address is that I see people in the chat trying to black pill people and pull down the morale and saying, why hasn't Trump done anything about the prisoners, the January 6th prisoners? He should be at the Capitol. He should be doing a sit-in. He should be protesting that. Well, I'll tell you something. I believe that he has mentioned it, but knowing Trump, I was thinking about this. So why hasn't he really taken this topic and crusaded on it? And I think this is an important question because how many of you think that President Trump doesn't know that there are political prisoners being held in the DC jail by the corrupt jailer in DC? How many of you, I want a show of hands, who thinks that Trump does not know that that's taking place? Right, zero. You know that he knows. And given the fact that he knows, why isn't he saying anything? It's always important to understand that everything that Trump he does for a reason. And so given that we know that he knows, that he's aware of it, he probably gets people writing to him and, advisors talking to him and asking him, what are you going to do? There's the fact that he's not focusing on it tells me that he has a very good reason not to. I don't know his reason, but I'm going to trust him that he has a good reason for not talking about it. It could be, I don't even know. I can't speculate right now, but I was just praying about this. Okay, why isn't he doing this? And it's interesting because it's one of the things, in addition to the whole vaccine situation, it's one of the things that the naysayers and the black pillars are using to try to pull his support away from him and to try to convince you that he's losing his base. Be very careful about listening to people like that are trying to tell you that Trump is losing his base because of a couple of these issues. They're trying, and you're gonna see this today. You're gonna see so-called conservatives today trying to come out and tell you that it's been a year, that nothing happened, that Trump didn't get a handle on this, that what happened last year was his fault, that he could have stopped it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You're going to see comments like that. You're going to see things on social media. You're going to see comments in Telegram rooms. You're going to see all of that. And if you, I urge you to question why that's being said and what the motive behind it is. Because, like I said, if President Trump isn't saying something about the political prisoners specifically, then you know that he has a good reason for that. And so just be careful about being dragged into um, just be careful about being dragged into the whole drama of thinking that you need to leave, that you need to abandon your support of President Trump over a couple of issues that somebody tells you should be the last straw. That's my warning, not warning, just my admonishment to you. Like, really think about that. Is this the hill that you want to die on? Is it worth it? Like, is it worth it to you to abandon a president who has done more good for America than really any president since probably Reagan? Even more, I think even more. I think he ranks as even better than Reagan. And so just think about that. And then somebody just brought up in the YouTube comments, Stephanie, thank you. She said, if Trump draws attention to these prisoners, then the jailers, those corrupt, evil people that are holding them, are actually going to retaliate. They're going to take it out on them. And so he has to walk a very, very fine line there, just like with the vaccine. Because think about this. If he comes out and says, hey, guys, don't take the vaccine because what they're giving you is bad. It wasn't my vaccine. It wasn't the original, whatever he says, they're going to use it to double down, right? Because they're so insanely focused and fixated on him that anything he does is going to trigger an irrational knee-jerk reaction, which in many ways could just lead to more evil behavior. And so just keep that in mind. If he comes out so those people that are trying to get you to jump off the Trump train because he's not coming out and saying the vaccines are evil, right? This is psychology 101. If he does that, then the left are going to double down and triple down on the vaccines. Because remember, in the beginning, they were the ones who said, we're not going to take a Trump vaccine. So they went from that to, you better take the vaccine or die. You better take the vaccine if you want to eat or drink or, go into a building. So, it's a complete turnaround. And so now imagine how much they would double down if he came out against them. And so that's part of the reason that I think that he is doubling down on praising the vaccines is because it really messes with those people. It messes with the left because, they know that he knows that they are doing evil things with it, that, it's causing damage and harm. And all they want is for him to come out and say that he's against it. And then, let's say that they stop vaccinating or that they double down on vaccinating, they'll figure out a way to blame him for more people dying. So, it's like, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So just keep that in mind. It's not black or white sometimes in the situations that he's facing. And so some of you think very linearly. You can't see past that one situation. It's very one-dimensional. And so it's time to break out of that. It's time to get multi-dimensional in your thinking, because President Trump is definitely multi-dimensional. And he's looking at all kinds of different potential outcomes. He's looking at all kinds of potential outcomes and scenarios, whereas he has more information than you do. And so he's always going to sort of game it out and figure out, okay, if A and B, then C. If A, B, and C, then D, whatever. He's going to look at all the probabilities of what's coming. Okay. Now, so yeah, let me tell you now, let me talk to you a little bit about mass psychosis, because I've been thinking about this, and I'm not going to read your comments while I talk because I want to stay focused on what I'm going to talk about. I think that, I've been talking about how people have been in a state of mass psychosis for a long time. And then Dr. Robert Malone went on Joe Rogan's podcast, I think it was last week, and he actually explained in a more formal way something called mass formation psychosis. And in short, it's a mass hypnosis of the populace. And I think that that's important to understand because what we're seeing here in the way that people are acting and reacting, it's like they've lost their minds. They literally have stepped out of their consciousness and out of their any sanity that they had, and they're not even thinking clearly. They're not acting from their own volition because they are hypnotized. It's very evil what's happened here. And I saw a meme the other day or today that really struck with me, and it said mass formation psychosis began on September 11th, 2001. Think about that. Think about that, because that was when we were plunged into war in the Middle East. That is when America became psychologically hypnotized into fighting a common enemy. In that case, terrorism, radical Islamic terrorism, the threat of terrorism, the threat of attack. It united America against a common enemy. And, a lot of people were hurt because of that. A lot of people still are hurt. And we lost trillions of dollars and thousands of our soldiers, and lost and or maimed thousands in the Middle East. And then, of course, the way that we left that situation was a surrender. It wasn't even a withdrawal. But what I'm saying is that if you look at the PR and the propaganda around that, and you look at how willingly people gave up their rights, look at the TSA, look at how it became the norm overnight for you to be strip searched in an airport. That didn't happen before that. You just got on the plane, right? And people were hypnotized into a psychosis whereby they not only allowed but begged for their freedoms to be stripped away. And so 20 years in, it doesn't really surprise me that they had to create another event that would bring people into another state of hypnosis, because I think over time, what they accomplished with 9/11 kind of wore off. And I remarked on this before a couple of times. I said, in the past, even at airports, the common enemy was the threat of terrorism. You heard the announcement that said, no parking at the curb. If somebody leaves a bag, make sure you report it. If there's a bag that's unattended, report it, etc. It was all part of the mass psychosis of, everything that we're not familiar with is the boogeyman, and we should be afraid of all of these people, incidents, situations enough so that we give up our freedoms. And then along comes a virus. And all of a sudden, it's a big, massive boogeyman that's out to kill you. And just like that, overnight, they managed to inflict mass psychosis on the world population to the extent that people were willing to give up their rights. And now we have people who are begging to give up their rights. They're begging for vaccine passports. They're begging for mandates and restrictions and school closures. It's actually astonishing to see. But do you see the progression? And it was interesting because when Dr. Malone talked about it, he talked about World War II and how the group of people that were most easily influenced were the highly educated, the articulate, thinking, intellectual population. And I think it's very interesting to see that, because I have a chart that shows mass formation psychosis. Let me grab it here. I've got visuals today, guys. Let me just move this. Okay, so check this out. All right. So vaccine hesitancy in the US by education level. I don't know if you guys can see this, but the middle two short things right here, the shortest one is a master's degree and then like a bachelor's. All right. And so like this highly educated segment here, these are the ones that are the most easily manipulated. Okay, so these are lower educated. This is PhD level. Okay, and and so this is the bell curve that shows, right. These guys are like, I don't want your mystery juice in my blood. And then the PhDs, there's insufficient data to support your claims of safety and efficacy. And then in the middle, follow the science, trust the experts, take the vaccine now. You're literally killing people. Okay, so those are the educated people that are telling you that. It's kind of scary, but hey, no worries, because we know the truth, and we're not going to fall for that, right? Feel free to grab this graphic if you want it. And here we go. All right. So getting back to what I was saying, the graph that I showed you is very interesting because to me, I feel like, with the whole vaccine hesitancy, you've got the people on the extremes who are not falling for it. And then you have the people, in the middle of the road who are just absolutely clamoring to have their rights taken away. And they're the most, and so I'm wondering, like, the correlation here. Are those people in the middle the ones that are also the most susceptible to mass formation psychosis as a rule? I think that's kind of worth asking. And if you think about it, maybe that's the case, because I look around me and I look at the people that have been the most insane through this. And a lot of times it's the people that, would be considered educated, anywhere from, the late high, like postgraduate to master's degree to like, postmasters, right? That whole angle. I guess you would call those like the white collar crowd. And the other thing that's very interesting is that, a lot of the millennials, the ones that have racked up the most student debt, the ones that are the most in trouble financially, the ones who made some really bad decisions about their education, they got a 4-year education in something insane, like, women's studies, gender studies, the effect of like acid rain on lemmings or whatever it is. And these are the people that are the most easily susceptible. Now, it could be that there's a cause and effect, that there's a correlation between the fact that these people have been indoctrinated by Marxist ideology in their universities, and so they're ripe for the hypnosis that is affected by mass formation psychosis. What do you guys think? I'm just kind of spitballing here. I'm just telling you what I think is going on. And I think that Robert Malone sort of opened that can of worms. He opened that Pandora's box for more people to be aware of that terminology and that concept. I think all of us had an idea that it was happening. We just didn't have a name for it. We didn't have a label for it. And I love how, these kinds of things create sort of a tipping point in popular culture where a phrase becomes common. And I see that happening right now. I'm seeing it happening on social media. People are actually using that phrase, mass formation psychosis, whereas a week ago, nobody even thought about it. People like me were shouting from the rooftops and saying, this is wrong. These people have been they've completely lost their minds. They're just in a state of psychosis. You have these sociopaths driving the narrative, and people aren't seeing it because they've been completely blinded. And now it has a name. Now it has a label, and we can actually apply that to what we're seeing, and hopefully show it to people around you that haven't quite been able to articulate what it is that they know is wrong with this whole thing. Hopefully you'll be able to see that. or you'll be able to, that will help you. And speaking of psychosis, I want to go back to the whole situation with President Trump and the vaccine. I don't want to miss this because the president came out. The president came out and said yesterday very emphatically that he is not in favor of any vaccine mandates, that he will never ever do any mandates, and that he's always said that from the start. And he called out Biden on the fact that Biden said he wouldn't mandate it, and then he did. And so I just want people to remember that. That he has always been against mandates, that he always will be, and he emphasizes once again the personal choice. And this is something that I can't say it enough, that it is a call to the individual to make their own personal choices. And this has more to do, it's not just the vaccine. He's talking about everything, because what's happened is that the whole world, all of America, has fallen into certain levels of mass psychosis, where people have just completely turned off their brains and allowed themselves to be herded around like sheep, and to do what they were told. I mean, you see this all the time. You see it all the time. You see people saying, well, they told me I had to get the vaccine. Who's they, right? And I'm talking about Republicans right now. I'm talking about people that voted for Trump. The whoever on the news, said that we have to get our third booster. Are you serious right now? Like, you're listening to those schleprocks telling you what to put in your body? And then you've even got the people that are, oh, my body, my choice, like, take the vaccine, right? Or put on your mask, right? It's like, whoa, okay. So President Trump is very emphatically telling you, make your own choices about everything. Take back your sovereignty, understand who you are as an American, and stop being manipulated. Stop being a victim. Take your own health into your own hands. Make your own decisions. Take your own future into your hands and stop being a victim. And that is what is needed to get us out of this mass psychosis as a society. Are you with me on that? That's really important, okay? Because you got to understand this. Before I go on, I'm going to ask you guys, some people haven't been on my show in a time, please do not post links in the chat on Facebook or on YouTube, because my broadcast gets censored when you do that. So please, if you've done that, delete it. And you can refer to something, of course, say, go here and find this interview, whatever. But if you post those links, it actually gets my broadcast censored, because the people do not, the socialist media overlords don't like that. They hate it. Okay. Now let me get back to what I was saying here. Let me check your comments, because I've just been talking nonstop. All right, Donald. Hey, Donald, how you doing? The German word for it is, Gleichschaltung. Did I say it correctly? Gleichschaltung, meaning sameness of thought. We've seen the results. I refuse to endorse it. Always listen to both sides of any discussion. Okay. So yeah, sameness of thought. Yeah. So Roxana on Facebook, please stop posting links. I haven't seen you in the chat for a while, so maybe you missed that, but it really messes with our algorithms. All right. Thank you. I appreciate it. Now, okay. Let me look at, thanks, Roxana. I appreciate that. Yeah, I miss President Trump and his voice of reason too. But President Trump is posting regularly on Telegram. So just remember that. Don't forget that. He's communicating with the people probably more now than ever, because he's not banned. He's not censored on Telegram and his posts, and on his website. The posts go up on Telegram, I think, quicker than they get on his website. but it's all there. Okay. Um, Now, let me check my notes here. All right. I talked to you guys about that. Oh, yeah. I wanted to say something about my channel on Telegram and any of my channels actually. And that is, I talked about this. I've been talking a lot about black pillars and about people that are coming in and lowering the morale. And I, I want to be, I don't want to shut out people's opinions because, people have different opinions about things. We want to have mature discourse. That's great. However, the way Telegram works is that, you know, I set up a chat. It's my chat. It's kind of like my little coffee house or my little living room. And I want people to talk respectfully in there. And so I reserve the right to ban or mute people who are being insulting and rude. And I just want to make that clear. I actually had to ban somebody off of my Telegram yesterday. It's a person that had been there for a while and had made some remarks that I didn't agree with. But yesterday they just resorted to all out insults. And so anytime you do that, I just want you to know like that just gets you the block. So just be aware of that. If you're having a bad day, I get it. But, and if you feel like you need to unload something, try to do it in such a way that you're not actually insulting the people in the room, especially the channel owner. That's never a good idea to do that, regardless of what channel you're in. And before you start, crying about, oh, free speech, it's not a free speech zone. You're not guaranteed the free speech in somebody else's like private chat. Okay, just be aware of that. That chat is by invitation. That's why I don't share the link to it. And it's because I want, mature discussion between adults. And so just be aware of that and stop. If you come crying to me because you get deleted or banned from the Telegram, it's because you were being rude and you were insulting people. So I have a zero tolerance policy for that. And the person that got banned, if you're watching, I gave you lots of chances and I never even said anything about the way you were acting. And then you crossed a line. So poof, gone. Okay, just wanted to get that out of the way. And it's on some other channels too. So just be aware of that and be careful. Okay, so yeah. Okay, next things. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about what happened in Virginia. I think we talked about how people were stuck on the highway. It turns out that our senator, and this is in 95, from Richmond to DC, people were stuck on the highway for as much as 24 hours. And the interesting thing about this, um, if you have friends or family who bought into the lie that the new Republican governor of Virginia was responsible for that, please correct the record for them and help them to understand that Northam, the racist baby killer, was still governor and still is governor when that happened. And we have another storm coming this weekend, and so if we have another storm coming this weekend, we'll see what happens. I think they were already out salting the roads, but it's very interesting to me to see the excuses that people are making and to see the Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. Mary Grace here. I want to wish you a happy new year, and I want to invite you to join the show on Monday the 10th. We're going to talk about how you can get your transformation on in 2022. That's right. We're doing a new you in 2022. You're going to find out how to use the world's greatest organic, non-GMO superfoods to reach your goals. 22. Be join us. Can't wait to everybody. Are we back, everybody? Are we back? Is everybody here? Haha, everybody heard my superfoods video. Okay, that was really strange. I'm tethering to my phone. My internet went out again. Some money. Okay. So all right, so you guys got to hear my preview video. Yeah, that was really weird. My internet completely went out. So I'm tethering to the phone, and we'll see how the signal is. We'll just see what happens. What was I talking about? I was talking about people trolling our channels. Okay, so I'm going to move on from that because I think it was I think it went. I think we got the message. All right, and I was talking about the debacle on Interstate 95. Yeah, so just make sure Governor Ralph Northam, who was responsible for that. And we've had bigger storms in Virginia. This is a ridiculous situation because it never had to happen. I mean, you've got people making excuses. Oh, it was raining. They couldn't treat the roads. Da 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 da. I mean, it was just ridiculous. And I mean, honestly, we've had bigger storms. They should have just closed the road. If it was that bad, if they knew that they couldn't get to the roads, then they should have closed the roads. And when that happens, they put out a big announcement that says they put out a big announcement, like all over the whole country, like you cannot travel on this road. And then people can make other plans to go somewhere warm and not be out in the weather. That's just what you're supposed to do. It's a major thoroughfare for commerce and travel. And Ralph Northam completely dropped. Anything going to happen to him? No, probably not. Probably not. And so that's just the way it is with Democrats. We know that's the way. We know that's the case. And that's just what they do. So, we'll see what happens. But, I think that there were 3 deaths. And, I hope the families of people that happened to sue him personally for neglect. Because in my opinion, that's the equivalent of like negligent homicide. It's interesting because our senator, the dumb one, well, they're both dumb, but Tim Kaine, the dumber one, he was in the traffic. And, of course, he was on TV and talked about it and everything and made it sound like it wasn't really that bad. He was in his car for 22 hours. He didn't even get like 10 miles out of Richmond. And he was stuck for 22 hours in his car. That's a really bad situation. And so, yeah, I mean, these people, they just need to be run out. That's just all there is to it. And Delia just made a comment that said inauguration is on 1/15. She's talking about the governor inauguration for Virginia and probably some other state about. Okay, so speaking of snow, the biggest thing that I've seen lately, another way for the left to show their utter and complete hypocrisy is that, New York City, other places around the country, they've got these ridiculous vaccine mandates. You can't actually go into a restaurant. You can't sit down and eat without showing your passport. They've got people getting arrested for like being unvaccinated while eating, right? And in the meantime, we've got AOC. She's back in the media. She's down in Florida without a mask, vacationing. I think Eric Swalwell was down in Florida vacationing. This is what they do. Nancy Pelosi, Nancy drunkety drunk Pelosi was down in Florida vacationing. She actually bought a home down there. So these people destroy. This is how Marxists do it. This is how corrupt communist autocrats do it. They destroy everything around them. They destroy the people. They destroy the economy. Remember that AOC is the one that kept all the jobs from her district. She kept the Amazon processing out of her district. That was her, okay? And so they destroy everything, and then they go vacation somewhere that they didn't destroy yet. In this case, in most cases, it's like a warm tropical island. In this case, it's just they went to Florida. And probably, I don't know where she was. Was she in Miami or Palm Beach, somewhere like that? But it's just it's like just the same record, the same broken record that plays over and over and over again. For thee, but not for me. And this is why the title of my broadcast today is Wakey, Wakey, because if you're still surrounded by people who can't see this, just slowly drip things like this on them. Okay, how come somebody that with vaccine mandates and who is okay with that is now vacationing in a state without them? Doesn't have to wear a mask, isn't vaccinated, can eat in any restaurant she wants. Oh, maybe it's because she actually knows that that's what people really want, is to be free and to exercise their freedom. Now, of course, you don't have to be so sarcastic as I am. Okay, so we've got a comment about the snow situation on 95. Okay, so Donald says, I'm from New York, no fan of Cuomo. New York State Interstate 90 Thruway is a toll road. Even Andy had enough sense to close that road in advance. Exactly. Is he still the governor? Who's the other? No, it's his replacement, right? Around Buffalo. Oh, he's talking about historically around Buffalo to Albany when heavy snow predicted. Half the times the weather was correct. This one in Virginia was a no-brainer. New York State has snow equipment. So even a state like New York that has way better equipment and facilities than we do would actually close the roads ahead of storms like this. And sometimes the storms didn't materialize, but in about half the cases they did. Better to err on the side of caution. Governor Northam was asleep at the wheel. There's no question about it. And I hope that he's brought up on charges. I hope that he is. But we'll see what happens, because we know that these leftists, their own, we already know that they dropped this against Andrew Cuomo for killing elderly people in nursing homes. That case has been dropped. He hasn't been charged. He hasn't been convicted of anything, which is absolutely disgusting. But that's just the way they do things, right? Okay. I want to read this comment. Anne says our governor in Michigan did that repeatedly last year. Yeah, so they closed the roads. Yeah, the new governor in New York is Hochul. Donald was talking about like in the past. So that makes sense. I thought he was talking about currently for this storm. Yeah, she is Cuomo 2.0. Isn't she the one that said that she equated herself to a deity, telling people that it was like they were paying homage to her if they took the vaccine, something bizarro like that. It was disgusting. If the feed is bad, I apologize. I'm tethering to my phone, so we'll see how that goes. I wanted to read this comment though by Lisa. Remember, you guys, we prayed for her son who had COVID. He had to be airlifted into Anchorage and he recovered. Thank God. Um, so um, she said he went back to work on the North Slope 2 days ago. He said Anchorage Airport 3-step testing isn't required now. Oh, that's interesting. Can you elaborate on that? Because I think I want to know. Oh, did you guys hear Whoopi Goldberg has COVID? Whoopi, Whoopi Goldberg has, and she's triple vaxxed. And this is kind of sad because there's subject to it. She says, if everybody will just get vaccinated, you won't get COVID. Okay, let's follow that logic. I got triple vaxxed and I got COVID. So if we do the math, I'm going to go out and say that everybody who gets triple vaxxed won't get COVID. This is what I mean by mass psychosis. They're like, there's nothing logical about that. It doesn't make sense at all. I did what I did and got COVID. I want you to do what I did so that you won't get COVID. Follow my steps exactly. Yeah. Right? Boys and girls, I walked off the edge of this cliff and broke my head. And so in order to avoid falling on your ass and breaking your head, I want you to do exactly what I did. That's Whoopi's logic. What else can we say? Right? That's pretty much what's going on here. Okay. Somebody said that I'm not glitching on Facebook Live. Yeah. Okay. Mass formation stupidity. Oh my gosh, I'm going to use that. It's not just mass formation psychosis, it's mass formation stupidity. I love it so much. Okay. Now, I think because we're glitching here, I'm probably going to head out soon, but let me just look at your comments here. Okay, so Lisa is giving us another update on the airport testing situation. All workers were required to go through ridiculous paper filing on site, 1 hour test, then more papers for non-approval for travel. That's ridiculous. And then she's going to type more here. Thank you, David. I appreciate it. Yeah. The thing I love is when you hear the unvaccinated blaming or thanking the vaccine got COVID, but they didn't get it as badly. That's like thanking your abuser for not breaking your arm, right? I mean, because they went all this time without getting COVID. And now that they're triple vaxxed, they're getting COVID and they're thanking the vaccine that it wasn't as bad. That's a special kind of stupidity. That's just like, I don't know. Oh, hey, Brent. Thank you for your comment. This is my first time catching you live. Glad I did. Thank you. Awesome. Yeah, make sure you follow the channel. Make sure you subscribe and turn on your notifications. That goes for everybody else. And hey, if you're just coming in or if you are catching my show at whatever time, please tag people and please share this. And if you're on Facebook, share it in groups. And then if you're on any of my channels, make sure you follow the channel, not just the show. So like the show, comment on the show, please leave a comment, but subscribe to the channel so that you won't miss anything coming forward. Okay, let me check my notes one more time because I want to make sure that I haven't missed anything. Oh, here's another meme. I tried to upload this. I'm going to read it to you. The same people Here's where the mass, I want you guys to remember when I read you this meme, I want you to remember something. I told you that one of the reasons that President Trump enacted Operation Warp Speed is what? Who can tell me in the chat why he went ahead with a vaccine and got the vaccine rushed? Who can tell me the reason that he did that? I'm just watching the chat now to see what you'll tell me. The chat is lagging a little bit, so we're going to just have some hold music while people post their responses. Da 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 bum ba da bum 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 bum. Yeah, it was to stop the lockdown, but there was something else. It was a longer play, right? It was specifically to do with the vaccine. Okay, wait. Giselle for the win. To keep from being locked down. Sorry. Where did it go? Your comment just went away. Okay, I think Giselle and Karen got it at the same time. So we wouldn't be locked down for 4 or more years waiting for a cure. I've said that many times. Like, just another year, we're that much closer to the cure, and Congress is going to allocate $80 billion of your money to find the cure. Meanwhile, destroying the economy and turning the middle class into indentured servants. That was their plan, right? And so let me just read this to you because it's such a good meme. The same people that took 20 years to replace the Taliban with the Taliban are now fighting a war with COVID. If that doesn't sum it up, I don't know what does, right? 20 years, the war on terror. And what do we get? We get the Taliban in charge of Afghanistan. So it really wasn't about eradicating terrorism, was it? So let's apply that to COVID. Because they're still trying to do it. They're trying to fight the war on COVID. And I mean, I hate to break it to you. I had it. I get it. I get that it can be worse for some people than other, but it's a virus. It's a cold. And so they have people hypnotized into such a state of fear that imagine if President Trump hadn't pushed to get the vaccine out. Imagine what they could have accomplished and how they could have had people just, sheepishly following them into the future and the great beyond, to where they were just, needing one more year to get the cure. Just one more year. I mean, look, they turned it into a whole industry. That's what they've done with COVID. Cancer is big business. Look what they did on drugs. Have more people die drug overdoses, especially from fentanyl. The drugs that are coming into our country are way worse now than they were when we started the war on drugs. The war on poverty resulted in higher poverty and more out of wedlock children being born. Actually went from like 24% in African Americans to like 74% children born out of wedlock since the war on poverty began. Now, you tell me, anytime anybody in politics tells you that they want to mount a war against anything, are you going to ever support them again? No, because their wars always result in a massive, massive money laundering operation that leaves the middle class poor, destitute, and broken, and never, ever solves the problem. Because when they create a problem, they never intend to solve it. All they intend to do is suck you dry in the process of promising you that they're going to solve the problem that they created. That's how this works. Wakey, wakey. Mic drop. Okay. I hope that actually got on the video because I'm tethered to my phone, and I don't know if you actually heard what I just said, but it was really important. Okay, somebody just mentioned the Flurona. This is okay. I think Flurona is their way to exit gracefully out of the war on COVID. I'll tell you why. because, up until recently, nobody, the flu disappeared. Okay, so in 2020, there was like no flu. And in 2021, right, everybody had to test, everybody tested for it. And then there was no flu. Well, now that the narrative is falling apart, that it's crumbling, that people are rejecting their shots, that people are just saying no more, enough is enough. Now that that's all happening, they have to have a graceful way out. The vaccine didn't work. The Omicron isn't killing people en masse. It never was. And people with the sniffles, with the same symptoms that you see on the back of the NyQuil bottle for colds and flu, right? And so what do? This is actually pretty genius. They now have invented Flurona. My Flurona, da 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 da, right? That's what they're doing. And here's why they're doing it, I think. I think it's because they can transition, they can just gracefully transition to saying we have this hybrid thing where people are testing positive for the flu and the Rona, especially because here's why too, because they don't actually have enough tests. They don't have enough test kits, even though they promised the test kits. It's hard to get them. And so now they can gracefully work their way out of this corner that they painted themselves into with everything is the Rona. And they can say, we have flu Rona. And then eventually, like, the Rona just drops off. And I can predict the headlines now. Here's what it can say. Well, it looks like the flu is making a comeback. Wow, Bob, did you see that? I mean, we have more cases of the flu this week than we've had 20. It looks like people are going to have to go out and get their flu shots and really be prepared for the flu once again, because the flu, ladies and gentlemen, is back. When that happens on the fake news, somebody please send me the clip, because I don't watch the fake news, but that's what they're going to do. Mark my words. That's what they're going to do. That's their way of getting out of the COVID narrative. And that's their way of bringing the flu back and making it look like they never intended to get rid of the flu. Who's with me? Do you guys agree? That's going to happen. Somebody send me the clip when it happens. Send it to my Telegram. And make sure that you are following my Telegram. Wait, I have a caption for that. Hold on just a second. Here we go. Look at that. There's my Telegram. If you want to take a screenshot, you can go to Telegram and follow that channel. I have over 1,000 followers on that channel now. Thank you, everybody who did that. And make sure that you're following that channel. And you will, that I share. I try to share the Trump statements on that channel as well. So go ahead and follow it. It's Mary Grace. You have to have a Telegram account before you find it. You have to download it and get on Telegram. So don't write to me and say, I can't find you on Telegram. Just use that link. All right. We'll try to post it in the description as well. I think it's actually in my channel description on YouTube. So other thing, what else? You guys might have heard my little ad that I posted by accident earlier, but here's what I want you guys to know. We're actually going to be doing a superfoods transformation. Some of you guys have been involved with this before, and I'm excited to tell you that we're going to be doing another group transformation starting at the end of January. And if you've been thinking about doing this or you've done it in the past, I've had people asking me, when are we going to do a group transformation? My friend Skylar is going to be leading the transformation. And it's going to be, I think we're going to have 2 live Zoom sessions so that you can get started on your transformation. And then we're going to do one about 10 days in to help to the cleansing part of the transformation. This is really good. You know how valuable it is. It's great to have a group to get connected with. And so if you're already a Superfoods customer, go ahead and reorder a transformation pack now so that you don't miss out. And if you are not a Superfoods customer, become one. And you can do that by writing to me, info@marygracemedia.com, and get a promo code so that you can save over $100 off of that. And this isn't just about losing weight. This is about shedding inflammation, about just resetting and restoring your metabolism, restoring your gut. Some of you may have come to realize that there's not really working too much down there. And a lot of times people realize that that even like forgetfulness and brain fog is tied to the gut. So think about that, and make sure you send me an email. Let me give you that information. Here we go. So there's two things you can do. You can write to me, info@marygracemedia.com for superfoods. And then don't forget, if you want CBD, go to Shop with Mary Grace CBD. It's a great, great company, great products. So don't forget that. And now I'm going to get back on my other screen. Where is it? There we go. It's no longer 2021. Perfect. Okay. Let me see your comments here. Yes, pray unceasingly. That's for sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm encouraged to see people slowly, You know what I think is really funny? So, so they came out and said publicly, I think on CNN, these cloth masks just don't work to stop the spread. And you would think when they did that, that would be the end of masks, right? Oh, good, great, thanks. No, I had a feeling this was going to happen. I knew when they said that it because they said the only thing that works is the N95s. So now all of the truly brainwashed sheep that are virtue signaling about their dedication to COVIDism, they're N95 masks. I've seen more N95 masks in the last 24 hours than I've seen in my whole life. Everybody has them. The people that used to have their homemade masks on that somehow managed to make it this far and survive and not get asphyxiated, they now have the N95s. So everybody's walking around looking like a duck, and all because somebody on CNN told them masks no longer work. How crazy is that? And, they're wanting to put these things on kids. They're wanting to completely cover up their faces. I mean, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. School systems are still masking kids. Child abuse. Anyway, but just watch, just look around. The N95s are making a huge, huge appearance on the scene. It's like that's the psychosis right there. It's like, oops, govern me harder. I need a stronger mask because masks don't work. So I'm going to get a stronger one that looks even more stupid on my face. Yeah. There you go. Okay. I think that's it for today. Make sure you write to me, info@marygracemedia.com. And I will be back on Monday. I'm going to try to be back at my regular time, 1:00. My internet, as you just saw, went out during the show, and that's been happening all week. And so we'll just see what happens. Just, bear with me, watch my timeline, just check back throughout the day. If you don't see me at 1:00, it means that this didn't work out. Yeah. And the other thing is I'm going to be on Steel Truth on Tuesday for superfoods, more about the transformation and how that works and how. So if you want to know about that right now, write to me, info@marygracemedia.com, and I'll send you the information. And so everybody have a wonderful weekend and stay warm and dry and have just a great time with your families. Continue to stand strong and resist all this insanity, and just pray for God's protection over over yourself, over your family, over me and my family, over Barley George, and over President Trump. Please don't forget to do that. And have a wonderful rest of the day. Take care, everybody.